In 2003, I was taught a lot of lessons, 3 of which have been really critical to how I see the world today. 3 lessons which, truth be told, it actually took me almost a decade to finally learn. 3 lessons which change how I see myself in the world, that change how I see you in the world, and change how I see what's possible in the world. And so my invitation to you today is that as you listen to the story I'm going to share, that you begin to wonder and think in your life and the life of those that you touch and this world that you live in, where have you defined and created limits? And who has defined you and created limits? Because it all began in 2003. I was studying my master's degree at night, and I took a job in a high school in a special needs and additional needs classroom. And on my first day, it was also the first day of a young lady who was 17 years old, and her name was Antoinette. Now, Antoinette had a reputation that preceded her even setting foot onto campus. So when I arrived early and eagerly to that first day, the teacher said to me, "We have a new student and you're a new staff, and so I'm going to pair you with Antoinette. But don't worry, I'm not expecting too much because I've already had a phone call from the school that she was at before, and they've already told us about her. You know, she's unpleasant, uncooperative, she's aggressive, she doesn't speak, she doesn't engage, she doesn't want to learn." I can't even remember the full list, but there was a long list of all the things that she already was. And then I was handed a folder, and it was a thick folder, and I was told to just glance through it so I could kind of get a bigger picture of who Antoinette was. And as I looked through the folder, it was full of all the limits, all the things she couldn't do. The truth was, I had no idea what to do with her because I'd just learned all the things she couldn't do, and I was actually scared. Like, how am I going to help this girl who does nothing and she's aggressive? I remember the moment that Antoinette came into that classroom because she was wheeled in her wheelchair. She had had trauma during her birth, and she had physical deformity. She had cognitive impairment, and she didn't learn language. And as she came in, she was wheeled in to a brand new room, and this is what I saw. Her head hung low. It was like she hadn't even noticed that she'd entered a room full of people. And I walked right over, and I said, "Hello, Antoinette," and I introduced myself. She had 0 interest in engagement with me, despite my cheery demeanor. And she didn't acknowledge me. In fact, she didn't acknowledge anyone. And for 2 weeks, I tried day after day with this academic task and that academic task and trying to engage her. And she mostly remained here. And occasionally, she batted me away like an annoying fly. And so just as she had in her previous classroom, she was sat at the back of the room in her wheelchair where she arrived, spent her entire day, and left and went home and spent the entire evening until she would go to bed, while the other students learned. About 2 weeks into the school year, 2 weeks into my job, 2 weeks into her school academic learning, the teacher had caused to play music in the classroom for the rest of the students who were learning. And out of my periphery, as the play button is pushed and the music comes on, I see this. It was less than an inch of movement. But I'm over here and I'm going, holy crap. Did she just move her head because the music came on, or did that just happen by coincidence? And this curiosity came in me, so the next day I brought in a CD player. It was 2003, it was CD player. And I put on some music and I got her headphones. And this is what I saw. And I thought, oh, it's really exciting. She likes music. And so for the next few days, I would play her music, and she would tolerate my academic tasks, because then she knew she'd get more music. And in my naive and excitement, when the physical therapist came in, I said, Antoinette likes music, and I'm just wondering, like, what else is possible? Like, could she, I don't know, like, could she learn to walk, or could she learn to do things? Rachel, she said to me, when Antoinette was 3, the professionals decided that she would never learn to walk. She would never learn to do much of anything, and that's why she's never qualified for services in her entire life. And I said, well, do you think maybe now she could qualify for services? And she said, she's 17. No. And I said, well, hypothetically speaking, if I was to do things like, I don't know, could I help her out the chair just to stretch, like move her body? She's stuck there all day, every day. Would I hurt her? And she said, no, you won't hurt her. And so the next day I got a yoga mat, and I went into a small room next to the classroom, and I rolled it out. And I took the music, and I played the music, and I helped Antoinette out, and she went to the yoga mat. And we began stretching. And that was the first day I heard her giggle and look me in the eye. So we did that for a few days. In the interest of time, I'm going to fast forward you to 8 months later. We're getting to the close of the academic year. Antoinette goes to PE. It's track day. All the students are expected to walk the track round and round. See Antoinette? And she walks 3 miles by herself around that track. No help. The students in that school, there was over 1,800 students. She won the Student Spirit Award. You see, when Antoinette started learning to walk, and believe me, she fell a lot, she just kept getting back up. And when she would get back up and she could see people, she started to connect. And so whether you were the principal or the janitor or the most popular student in school, it really didn't matter. If she saw you, she high-fived you. And if you were the principal or the janitor or the student, you high-fived her back, because everyone knew who she was in that school. Because she was love. She held doors for people, because she learned how to walk up and down stairs. She learned lots that year. She learned so many things. She had a nice fat file of things she could do. She was quite a fast learner, because it took me like a decade to catch up with the learning, it turns out. But I got there in the end. So my 3 things that Antoinette taught me. 1, I don't care what that file says, or what everyone who knows you say about who you are, who you be in the world, what you're able to do, what you're not able to do. I don't believe any of it. I won't believe it. I don't even care if you come to me and you've begun to believe it. I'm still not going to believe it for you. And one of my favorite things to do with people is to really think about what is impossible, what's been written off, because that's exactly where we're going to head. And Antoinette taught me exactly how you do that. When it's impossible, you start here, and you just take it one step at a time. Thank you.